The man awoke from a 19-year coma, and what he revealed shocked everyone. This man had been in a coma for 19 years, until something unexpected happened that changed the ending of the story. What did he say after 2 decades of sleeping, and why was it so surprising? Being in a coma means different things to different individuals. Some people completely black out, while others believe they've seen a divine being. But the story of our hero today is quite distinct and unique. Jan was born in Poland and has never left, not for lack of opportunity, but because he and his parents adored their homeland. However, despite its beauty and coziness, their city would be the scene of immense tragedy for them. Jan has always loved trains and couldn't imagine working anywhere else for the rest of his life than at his hometown station, where he spent his days maintaining these machines. On a seemingly ordinary day, Jan got up early to go to work, but little did he know that something extraordinary would happen in just a few hours. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell to be inspired by these real-life stories on a daily basis. Now, let's return to the story. Something incredible was going to occur. When he accidentally bumped into someone while walking distractedly, he was perplexed and didn't understand what had occurred until he heard a voice remark, "Watch your step, didn't you see me?" Jan felt humiliated and quickly looked down to assist the guy he had knocked to the ground, but as he did so, his heart began to race. Jan apologized to the woman, didn't seem to mind, and continued walking into the station, but he noted that she smiled as she turned away. Jan learned that her name was Vanessa, and a great passion began to grow in his heart from that day forward. Before he knew it, he had asked her out, and the woman smiled and accepted his request. A few weeks after the couple's meeting, the two were already dating. The passion that the two had for each other was clear, but unfortunately, something unexpected would happen soon and put them apart. Vanessa went to her boyfriend's house. The woman had tears in her eyes and was clearly distressed. Jan didn't understand what was going on, but the girl took something from her pocket and handed it to him. It was a pregnancy test with a positive result. Vanessa was doing well at work and didn't want to get pregnant at that point in her life, so she was desperate. She wasn't expecting what Jan said after seeing the test results. "I love you, and I love our child the same way. I'll take care of him so you can focus on your work or studies. I'll never abandon you, and be sure of one thing, I will love being a father every second of my life. So don't worry, we'll make it together." It was 1998, and males didn't always have such a good outlook, especially when it came to women. When it came to raising a child, however, everything Jan said was true, and they were excited to meet their baby. A week later, Jan went to work as usual, but that day a terrible thing happened. He was doing routine maintenance, but there was a rock, and Jan didn't see it, and he accidentally tripped. When he slipped and fell on the tracks, other workers at the scene immediately called an ambulance. But when they arrived at the hospital, doctors told them that there was nothing more they could do for him. Jan was hit and severely injured his head, and he was in a coma. But doctors told the family, especially Vanessa, that there was no way they would ever see him alive again. According to them, the patient would no longer have brain activity after a few days. Fortunately for everyone, the doctors were wrong, and Jan was still alive after many days. Vanessa had no choice but to pray for a miracle in the hopes that her lover, the father of her kid, would wake up. She found out that the child she was expecting was actually a girl, and at that moment she was in tears, thinking how much she would have loved to know this news firsthand before she was apprehensive and afraid of having that baby. But now she clung to her with all her strength, because it was a gift Jan left for her before all that mess. The man was still completely unconscious, even 10 years after the tragic event, but his family would soon receive good news. Jan made slight improvement, which excited even the doctors. However, this happiness would not last long as he returned to his deplorable state of health. A few days later, his family was considering turning off all the devices and taking him off life support. But Vanessa was completely opposed to it because she still believed that one day her lover would wake up and meet his daughter. His mother went to see him, as she always did, to update him on family happenings. Even though he couldn't hear the woman, she took his hand in hers and began to cry because she missed his voice so much. While squeezing his hand, something strange happened. Jan wiggled his fingers, and she dashed to call the doctors on duty, who didn't believe her story. But when they returned to the room, they discovered the patient, who had been thought to have had no chance of survival, with his eyes open. Vanessa was correct, because after an incredible 19 years in a complete vegetative state, the man finally woke up. Doctors were stunned. They'd never seen anything like it. But Jan began to say strange things when he regained consciousness, leaving everyone perplexed as to what was going on. His mother didn't expect that and was in disbelief to see her son awake, so she couldn't stand the emotion and fainted at the thought that she was only dreaming. She couldn't believe that after so many years she was finally reunited with him. Jan couldn't have guessed that after 19 years in a coma, his first thoughts would be of his tiny daughter, whom he had hoped to witness being born and cared for. He couldn't have expected that he would never really actually see his daughter, who is now a grown woman at the age of 19. Relatives were worried that the man's protracted slumber had caused brain damage, but he regained full speech and was able to describe what was going on, saying he remembered at least the last few hours. He now had a lot to live for and learned Amber, his daughter, had recently entered college, as she was already 19. The two cried when they finally met. Now Jan could fulfill his dream of being a father of that young woman that even the doctors couldn't understand how it happened. Vanessa didn't remarry. She always hoped her boyfriend would wake up, and it's a good thing she insisted on it, isn't it? The man became the subject of every newspaper in the city because it was a tragic event, but now he was back 19 years later, almost 2 decades later, as if nothing had happened. Obviously, there were serious consequences. Consequences such as Jan's inability to walk again were little compared to his determination to wake up and see everyone who loved him again. His recuperation was long, but physicians saw him as a true wonder of science, possibly a request answered after so much prayer. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider sharing it with someone else who might enjoy it as well. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.